Today's mission is to make this dumb CO/smoke detector smart, at least smart enough to let you know that something has happened. It won't make it smarter, but the alerts you can get through Home Assistant. And we're going to be using this DC signal sensor for that. This is a product made by Zooz that ties to the interconnected smoke detectors in your system and lets you get alerts both for CO and for smoke. So let's get started. Okay, so let's dig into what this is real quick. This is the DC signal sensor. It is a 120 volt, or it has a 120 volt relay in it. They claim 5-year warranty. It's got the 800 series Z-Wave chip in it. It is ETL certified, so ETL is like UL listing, nationally recognized testing lab. So it is should be a safe device. It also uses S2 security with Smart Start authentication. And that means you have a secure device connected to your Z-Wave network. It does both smoke and CO alerts, as long as the existing installation features interconnected mains power detectors, which means you need to have them plugged in to the mains power or connected to the mains power. You just need to add Z-Wave to them. It must be connected to the last detector in the series, and then you include it into your Z-Wave hub, which in my case will be Home Assistant. There is the ability to add a 120 volt light or siren. There's a relay output on this that allows you to do that. And you can control all that if your hub supports it. And then it's got the Z-Wave long range chip in it. So they claim up to 1,300 feet. Anyway, that's just typical Z-Wave stuff. This thing is compatible with the Z-Box hub, which is Zooz's own hub. Home Assistant using Z-Wave JS. Habitat, which requires a custom driver, and SmartThings, which needs the Edge driver. This does not work with an alarm panel. It doesn't tie, if you have a wired alarm panel, it does not tie into the wired alarm panel. You need to reach out to your alarm company if you want to try to tie this in somehow, but that's not the point of this device. And then again, it would be up to your alarm panel to integrate the device. It follows the Z-Wave protocol. Now, there's some alarm panels out there that use Z-Wave, but again, it's totally up to the manufacturer and the alarm company and all that. Can you connect this to your speaker, home, or other smart speaker? No, that's not what it's made for. Some other very important points here. It is a DC signal sensor. It can read analog sensors from the interconnected smoke and CO alarms, as well as control a connected 120 volt load. The DC signal sensor is not a security alarm component and is not part of a life safety system. So you need to make sure you check with your local regulations before installing this in your smoke detector setup, including your insurance company. Here are the most common use cases. It's an analog interconnected smoke detector. On the input side, it will report a smoke alert with the hub or to the hub via Z-Wave. If your detector outputs that low voltage signal alert. It's been tested with First Alert, Kitty, and BRK, some of the most popular brands. It's also an interconnected CO detector. It will also report a different type of signal to the hub if your hub supports it and the CO detector goes off. So you can tell the difference. Again, it's been tested with these brands, First Alert, Kitty, and BRK. There's an ability to add a 120 volt light on the output side with a 15 amp relay that's in there. That gives you the visual indication of danger. And then you can also connect a 120 volt powered analog siren to be triggered when the alarm goes off. Here are some places that this does not work. Analog smoke and CO detectors that are not interconnected. You could connect one of these devices to every one of those, but that would be bad. Or it wouldn't be bad, it would be very costly. I wouldn't even try that. You cannot use this with battery powered smoke and CO detectors. You need the 120 volts to power the Z-Wave radio, and it needs to have some sort of interconnection. This is not certified for life safety applications. Once again, it is a notification device, but it is not, you shouldn't rely on it for life safety situations. Again, if you don't have it where you don't have a neutral and a line, it won't work. If your Z-Wave hub does not support notification type devices, if you need to know which detector in the house went off first, this will not tell you that. This will just tell you that something happened. So I see these use cases here, or my use case is, hey, I want to be alerted when I'm not here. I want to be alerted in case I'm not in visual or audio range of the smoke detectors. So that's what this is for, and that's what I'm going to use it for. Okay, so let's go a couple more things here. This is how we put this together. You're going to connect the red wire. Typically, these are the typical colors. The red wire is your signaling wire. It's going to go between the ZEN55, your smoke detector, and also will connect down the chain to the next one in line, the next smoke detector in line. Then you're going to set up line voltage on what's typically the black wire, and then you'll set up the neutral on this right here. So I've done the work of getting this all set up for you, so you can just look at it here. Again, this is the ZEN55. It's pretty tiny, and you've got the S for signal, the out, which is a relay that I've capped off. So these two are capped off. So I'm not using those right now, the blue and the yellow. And that's mentioned over here on the diagram. Make sure that you cap these off. So if you inadvertently fire off the relay, it doesn't send voltage out of these things right here. All right, so I've got those capped off. And then I've got the line voltage, or the line, hooked up here to the black line here. And this just plugs into the back of your existing system. And then it goes down. This is simulated to be the line that goes down to the next smoke detector in the line. In my case, it's the power. Now I'm going to turn this on, because what I'm going to do next is we're going to include this into Home Assistant by following the directions. Now this has the ability to hook up via the code, or the whatchamacallit here, the QR code. You can scan it either way to get it, and that actually is mentioned over here in the documentation. You can either scan the QR code or enter the 5-digit PIN if you're using Smart Start. And if not, if you want to do the traditional inclusion, you can tap the Z-Wave button 3 times quickly. And that Z-Wave button is actually going to be right here on this, right here on the front when I get it powered up. I'm going to power it up. It's going to be loud. It's going to say hello and all that stuff. I'll try to keep the volume muted for you so you don't get blown away by this. All right, so it is now on and running. So that also means that there's power to this. If you're messing with this, be careful. One thing I forgot to mention too is you're messing with mains voltage here. My recommendation is get an electrician to wire this in for you. Don't do it yourself. You can do all the other stuff afterwards, hooking it into Home Assistant, playing around with it, all that. Let an electrician do the heavy lifting. If you're comfortable with playing with power, then go ahead. But my recommendation, make sure you get someone who's qualified to mess with mains power to hook this up, because these smoke detectors are running on mains power. All right, so now that we've got everything wired up, let's go ahead and connect it into Home Assistant. And for that, I'm using Z-Wave JS. So under Z-Wave JS, I've already got it installed. I'm going to click on Add Device over here. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and show you what I've got over here. This is the device. And I'm going to push it 3 times fast. You should see that light start to flash quickly, and we do. And hopefully we'll see it show up on our Z-Wave system here in just a second. All right, since it's an S2 security device, it is now asking for the PIN for this. So I will give it the PIN that came with it. Now that's going to be on the back of the device. So what you want to do is make sure that you are not buttoning this up until you actually get this fully connected to Home Assistant. And let me see if I can find it. All right, so it is now adding the Z-Wave device, which is this smoke detector, or not smoke detector, the actual the ZEN55. Okay, so it is now done. And here is the DC signal sensor that has just been added. We should see it here. All right, so there you go. Before I do anything else, just a quick recap. We went ahead and wired it up. We went ahead and added the ZEN55 to Z-Wave JS. Now you can add it to, I think you can add it to Z-Wave JS UI as well. But I did it on Z-Wave JS because that's the device I'm playing around with right now. And then we went ahead and did the inclusion. So this is the fun part. So right now I have an idle CO alarm sensor state, idle smoke alarm sensor status, and I have the rest of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test on here. So let me just show you real quick. So I'm going to push the test button on here. And when I do that, it's going to be really loud. So hopefully I will be able to turn that down for you in the video. So don't worry about that. And when I do that, let me show you here what will happen on this as well. So hopefully, if it all works well, you will be able to see some stuff happen here as it goes through its status check. So here we go. Testing, cover your ears. I'll cover mine. And I completely made a mistake. That was wrong. So we get to play with this again. If you'll notice on here, there's no sensor entities. They're not shown here. So all of these are disabled for some reason. So they were disabled by default. And I had to go in here and actually enable these. It's interestingly enough, that's strange that I had to do that because that's the whole point of this thing. So right now I have carbon monoxide detected is cleared and smoke detected is clear because nothing is going on. I'm going to just enable all of these and see which ones actually have something available to enable. And this last one here I think is disabled. Whoops. Nope. Let's go here and enable it. All right. So I don't know if there's anything else here specifically coming across. This is what I'm most interested in is the carbon monoxide detected, smoke detected. They're both clear. I'm gonna go ahead and run another test on it and let's see if this actually works like it's supposed to. So cover our ears, let's go. Okay. So far, not having a lot of luck with this. So let's take another look at what's going on here. I showed this as detected. It did change this when I did this. It never went from clear to detected. Oh, it did. It does say carbon monoxide. Oh, it says clear. 818 and 822. I wonder if it was just such a short. No. I would see more than that. And then smoke sensor status shows it as idle. That's the status. Smoke detected. Here we go. That's what I want. Nothing there. So I just wonder if it has to go through a cycle before it does that, or the test is actually not doing anything. The only thing I can think of right now is that it's maybe that it's not, that it is not long enough, or in the test mode, it's actually not sending it down the line to another device. In that case, that would mean that I would have to figure out a way to tell it was smoking in here, which would cause all kinds of problems with my real smoke detector and everything else in this room. Well, it is now the next day. After messing with the smoke detector for a bit yesterday, this is what I've been trying to use. This is an Xsense smoke detector. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this smoke detector. This smoke detector, actually, these are pretty good. I like the fact that they have voice alerts and location settings and stuff. However, for whatever reason, they don't send the right signal down the path. And so the ZEN55 is not picking that up. So a couple of different things I did since I talked to you last. One was I went ahead and I associated the device over to Z-Wave JS UI, which doesn't matter. It'll work in Z-Wave JS or UI, either one. But these two sensors, let me get my little mouse guy going here for you. These two sensors right here showed up as enabled automatically without me having to go in there and re-enable those. So I excluded the device and re-included it, and it seemed to fix whatever issue was when it first did not set up those sensors. That was the first part. The second part, of course, is that I went ahead and I switched over to a Kitty brand. These are actually tested in Home Assistant or with the ZEN55. The other ones that I played with, the Xsense, it does not show that that was tested with this ZEN55. So now that I've done all that, let's take a look and see how this actually works, or let's see that it works. So I'm going to go to the inset here. You can see right here, here is our two sensors, the smoke detected and the carbon monoxide detected. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, over here, I'm going to go ahead and test this using the test button right here. and you will see this stuff change. I'm going to kind of turn the volume down again on this. You don't have to listen to all of the beeping and whatnot, but you'll see the light flash here to indicate that it's testing as well. And you'll see a corresponding change here. So let me just blow that up real quick for you so you can see real good. All right, I'm going to go with the test. Here we go. Now it takes a second for the carbon monoxide to get a clear notice. And there you go. So now you see that it has actually detected smoke, cleared smoke, detected carbon monoxide, and cleared carbon monoxide. And that is the way it is supposed to work. All this stuff I did yesterday, and I edited a bunch of it out of the video because it just wasn't worth watching. It just turns out that you have to use a supported smoke detector with this setup. I really don't understand the differences between the different detectors and the signals they put out on that DC sensor line, but it does make a difference. Lesson learned, if you're going to use the ZEN55, make sure that you're using one of the already tested brands that they have said in their documentation. Okay, so one other thing I want to show you here is an automation. So let's go ahead and do some automation work here and make this. Before I do that, let me get the smoke detected actual entity name. So this is ZEN55 smoke detected because I named the device ZEN55 and Z-Wave. So I will go over to automations and create one for that. Because here's the thing about this. This is great. It will show up and go to Home Assistant, but then nothing happens, right? You need to actually create an automation or some sort of actionable thing to make that happen. So you get alerted. So that's what we're doing right now. So I'm going to create an automation right here. All right. And create a new automation. We're going to add a trigger, entity, and we're going to choose a state change. And the entity is going to be what I just chose, that ZEN55. We're going to go from clear to detected for immediately. And then what I'm going to do is do a notification. Let me do a persistent and see if that works here. Persistent notification. You can send this to your phone. You can send this to whatever devices, tablets, whatever method of notifications you use. And then the message will be smoke detected. And the notification, we can use a title if we want. I don't know if that's necessary, but we'll do it anyway. Smoke detected, same thing. And then we will save it. Give it a name. Smoke detected, ZEN55. All right, there we go. Now over here on the side panel, which I've gotten hidden down here, you should see a notification when this runs. So I'm going to push the magic button again. And we should see a notification pop up here whenever that smoke detection happens. So here we go. Okay, so here we are, notifications, and we have this persistent notification that shows me that smoke was detected, and I'll dismiss that now. So there you go. And you can do the same thing with carbon monoxide as well. And that's it. This is not as difficult as it seemed like it was in the video. You basically set up this or hook it up to your smoke detector chain. Make sure you use the last detector in the series. And then you pair it with Z-Wave. And then you set up the automation to do what you want to do with it. The hardest part to me of all of this is locating the final detector in your chain of smoke detectors. That you have to know where your wiring is in your house, and you have to know where that last detector is. It doesn't mean it's always the farthest one from your electrical panel because of the way they run wiring in houses. So make sure that you do that part, and then everything else is fairly simple. Wire it up. And again, make sure if you're uncomfortable with doing mains type wiring, that you use an electrician or someone that's certified to handle that kind of stuff. And then once you get it wired up, you add it to Home Assistant, and then you get to play with it. And that's it for the ZEN55, a simple device that makes those dumb smoke detectors just a little bit smarter so you can get alerts when you're not around. All right, let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. I've got some links down there for some of the various ZEN55 documentation I showed in the video. And yeah, that's it. If you're not a subscriber, you know what to do. If you'd like to support me in various ways, that's all listed down below as well. We'll see you on the next one.